So what we have here is an old MacBook Pro from 2015. It's a 15-inch, has 2.2 gigahertz quad-core i7 processor and 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. So it's been sitting idle because a while back I upgraded to a 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch with the touch bar. And yeah, and that's been my daily. So anyways, back to this one. So it's still in good condition, but it hasn't been used and it needs a little bit of work, so it can be usable again. So basically we're going to refurbish it so that, you know, my kid, I guess, could use it for school. And there are 5 things we can do, we'll do to make it better. So number 1, what we're gonna do is remove the coating on the screen. I don't know if you can see it. See on this, focus. Alright, so in here on the side here, it's basically peeling off, and what it is it's the anti-glare coating, and yeah, it's obviously, I don't know, it's probably melting or peeling, but it looks horrible. Think of it like the clear coat on an old car that started to peel. And yeah, so what we're gonna do is basically strip that off. And the first thing we could do is, I guess, clean the screen a little bit so you can see what we're working with. Just, you know, it doesn't need to be. And yeah, so even if you wipe it down, you can, you know, once we remove all the grease, you can see much noticeable. It's much more noticeable, right? The coating. So I've been looking around, and there are 3 things that we can use. One is baby wipes or wipes. 2 is mouthwash. 3 is toilet bowl cleaner. So yeah, so I guess the first thing is, we'll just start with the wipes. It's just the easiest thing to do, so let's do that. All right, so we have the wipes now. Here, we'll just grab one of this, and I guess we'll just start scrubbing it. So there's basically some chemicals in here that would actually melt the coating or laminate, but we'll try all 3 chemicals, I guess, you know. So I think it helped a little bit. On the side here where I've been mostly working, it's a little bit clearer, but we'll just keep going for now. Alright, so I've been working at this for a few minutes, and I think this is almost dry. So basically what I did was I just focused on this 1/3 of an area here. And yeah, what we're gonna do then is, well, let's just wipe it down with some microfiber cloth. Just see what we got. You know what, let's play some lens cleaner. Alright, so, oh wow. I think you can, yeah, it's pretty noticeable. Like in the middle parts where I was scrubbing more, it's definitely clearer. There's a little bit on the edges, right? But yeah, I'd say this thing is pretty effective. And compare that to the rest of the screen, like this part, the rest, the 2/3 of it, it's just disgusting. But yeah, this is almost like glass. Alright, so next thing we're gonna use or give it a try is mouthwash. So I got some Listerine here, and yeah, well, what we're gonna do is just put a little bit on a small, it's just a tiny bit, we don't need a lot, so just make sure it's a little bit damp. And we'll work on the middle of the screen. So I'll just keep rubbing it like this, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so it's working, but it's taking much longer, and I'm working from right to left, and obviously this is where we started with the wipes. Much better. Well, right now it's just kind of dirty because of the Listerine on it, and that's another thing. I don't like the kind of residue that it leaves, and it's definitely working, but it takes longer, right? And so let's go try the third option, toilet bowl cleaner. This is probably the least desirable one to use in terms of smell, but you know, we'll try it for science. Okay, so again, we have our microfiber cloth here. Don't want to, we'll put a little bit. Oh man, I really don't want it, but yeah, okay. Wow, okay. So for this one, well, let's do it on the left side and work ourselves to the middle. And yeah, I'll just do this for a few minutes and come back. All right, so I give it a few minutes, and it's definitely working as well. Well, it's working too, but I don't know, it's working as well as the other option. Might be the same effectiveness as the mouthwash, but I just don't like the residue on the mouthwash is worse. It's probably because of the calcium in it, but anyways, it works. But I think out of the three, I prefer the wipes. So what we're gonna do then is do the rest with the wipes, and yeah, we'll clean it up from there. All right, so we're pretty much done here. There were some stubborn parts around here. I don't know why, but that was. So yeah, and you know what? Let's spray some Windex, and then let's use the microfiber, a different one. This orange one I was using has a weird mix of Listerine and Lysol. It's just, ugh, okay, it's disgusting. Anyways, let's clean up with some Windex here. All right. Oh yeah, that looks great. It's just like, it's like glass. Well, it is glass, supposedly, right? So yeah, let's spray some more. I don't know what. Let's use paper, fresh paper towel. Actually, wow. Okay. All right. So step number one is done. Yeah, it looks new again. Well, at least that part of it. Right. Anyways, so yeah. So what we're gonna do next is open up the computer. All right, so let's open up the MacBook. So to do that, we'll need a special screwdriver that has 5 wings in it, and you probably should use one of these guys or something where you can put like the screws in. But yeah, let's just open it. All right, so once all 10 screws are removed, you can pop off the top plate. I mean the bottom plate. Yeah, so okay. And as soon as you open it, what you should do is unplug the battery. The connector is right in the middle here. You'll need like nails to be able to do it. But yeah, and then we should be good. Admittedly, the inside of this particular MacBook Pro is pretty clean. I do recall cleaning it before I, stop using it really. But anyways, You could use a brush. Make sure it's soft bristles, and yeah, you can just like brush it off all the dust. And you can also use compressed air, or just like a vacuum cleaner with a hose and suck it all up. And yeah, so what it does is obviously it clears up all the vents so that air circulation will be improved, and fans won't have to work as hard to push air through blocked vents and all that. So yeah, it's pretty simple. All you need is one of these special Mac screws to be able to open it. All right, so that's pretty much it for number 2. So for the number 3, what we're gonna do is replace the thermal compound, right? On the CPU and GPU. And so what I have here is this thermal compound. It was a cheap one from Amazon, but the rating is pretty good, 15.7, right? So it should be pretty effective. And you'll need another screwdriver, a Torx one, a really tiny one, because we need to remove the heatsink here. Right, so we'll just flip it around like this, and we'll start on the right side. So we'll use our screw compartments and put it in different block just to separate them out, and you can unfold this flap here, rubber flap, and start unscrewing things. Rubber stopper, so we need to remove that, put that on a different one, and unscrew it. So the screw is different compared to the other side, so we'll just keep it over there together with the rubber cap. And so so the next thing we want to do is, there are 4 screws here that we need to remove. So you need to be careful because on this side, as you notice, oh, I just dropped it. You have this metal kind of spring that's pushing down. So the screw might just fly off, kind of like what just happened there. And yeah, let's do the rest. Are off, and we can just lift this off. Yeah. So as you can tell, the thermal compound is pretty much dried up. Yeah, it's caked on there good. So yeah, we need to clean that off first, and we'll use our paper towel and isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and we'll use that to clean up the old thermal compound. So start with the heatsink here. Okay, so we're good to apply our new thermal compound. And so let's open it up. All right, so we got man, this one's really thick, like triple C thick, but yeah, we'll just spread around as we push down on the heatsink. All right. So just move it around to kind of spread the thermal compound, and yeah, it should be good, and we can screw it back in. So we're good now here. And yeah, so that's number 3. All right. So on to number 4. Unfortunately, I've already done it, and that's basically replacing the battery. And obviously the battery will degrade over time and it won't last long. But worst part of it is the battery might actually puff up, like it will expand, which happened to my battery, and that happens to most lithium polymer based battery, and that's actually pretty dangerous. And it's, for my case, it's pretty bad that it was the whole bottom plate was convex, and when you put it on a table like a flat surface, it doesn't sit flat. It kind of rocks because it's it's curved, right? And yeah, and the battery, lithium polymer batteries are fairly volatile. I've seen them burst into flames when punctured or short-circuited, and yeah, you don't want to mess around with this. And as soon as it's degraded, you want to replace it, and which I've done. Too bad I didn't didn't record it, but I'll show some photos. And yeah, and it's pretty simple anyways. You can watch some videos. You just need to unplug the cables and unscrew this part here, and that's pretty much it. One thing to make note is this has a very strong adhesive, so you need like some kind of spatula, or like it has to be like a flat piece of plastic that you can basically dig underneath and kind of work yourself through the like at the underneath the of the battery, and really try to not puncture the battery. And that's why, again, it can't be metal, because you don't want to poke it with a metal, and then yeah, so just take your time. It'll eventually come off. Yeah, and yeah, and it's like with the new battery, oh man, it's like new again. Battery lasts a long time, and obviously you can go to Apple Store to get it done. Depending on where you are, it can cost almost like $200 to get it done, or you can buy like a third-party battery from Amazon. It costs about $70. I'm talking about that's in Canadian dollars, right? So yeah, either way, you should get it done. So once that's done, what we're gonna do is we can close it up and talk about number 5. All right, number 5. Since this is a 2015 MacBook Pro, we can actually replace the SSD. So to do that, we need an SSD, obviously. So we have a 1 terabyte Western Digital SN550. Pretty cheap, but huge. And yeah, so also need some screwdrivers, obviously the same one to open the laptop. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry if you actually close the laptop and screw the bottom, then well, we have to open it up again. I actually didn't screw mine. It's just the bottom panel is just sitting at the bottom. Anyways, yeah, so there's gonna be some prep work that you need to do. So first thing is you probably want to do a time machine backup if you haven't yet. So obviously you'll need a drive for that. I got a 1 terabyte here, and you will need to make a bootable a drive. So to do that, you'll need USB key, or you can have multiple partition on your time machine drive, and then use the other partition as a bootable partition. And from here, I'll put a link for this instruction. You can download the OS that you want to use. So once that's all done, we can just shut down the computer and install the new SSD. We're looking at the bottom of the laptop. It's already unscrewed, so we'll just take off the lid. And yeah, so this is what we're gonna be replacing. And so you just need what is it? Is it the green one? Yeah, we need the green one. So we need to unscrew this. And we can just touch a piece of metal to ground ourselves, and then we can just lift this up and pull. Right, so that's that. And we can then open up our new drive here, and yeah, so if you look closely, the form factor is different, and we'll need an adapter. These adapters are pretty cheap. This particular one is from Amazon, and I paid about $8 for it. It comes with a screw and a screwdriver, but the screwdriver that it comes with is a Phillips one, and you know. Anyways, so how this works is you just basically have this end where it's the notch is on one side, and you just push that in there, and then we push that into the laptop. Make sure it's in all the way like that, and you could use the original screw, or if yours comes with a screw with the adapter, then you can use it, but we'll just use the original one. And that's it. So we've upgraded our SSD, and all we need to do now is close it up, and now we're flipping over the MacBook. The bottom cover is there, but it's not screwed. So just in case if we need to, like, I don't know, if something's loose and we need to go in there again. So we'll just leave it unscrewed for now until we're done. So the next step is to boot up into your external drive. So obviously plug in the power and plug in the USB, and then press the power button and then hold the option key. And obviously there is nothing on the hard drive right now, so it won't even be able to boot up. It'll have a question mark in a folder. Now, in my case, I have a firmware password on this laptop, so I have to enter that. If you see this, means you have to enter a firmware password as well. And if you do forget what that password is, well, you only have one thing you could do. You can go to Apple Store and they'll reset it for you. And for them to do that, you have to show like proof of ownership, right? And usually if you bought it from Apple Store, right, under your name, it's all there. You don't have to worry about anything, and they have that in their system. But if not, right, then it's a little bit trickier process. Anyways, I'm gonna go enter my password, and you should boot up. All right, so I entered my password, so we're able to boot up now. You can boot up using the network, or since we created a bootable drive, let's choose that. All right, so we actually have a few options here. Install macOS from our bootable drive, but if you have Time Machine backup, then you can do that as well. I didn't think you could do this, but anyways, we can try that first. It might be faster So let's see. Yeah, pick the latest one, obviously. And install macOS. Oh, so in that case, we have to install the macOS first, and then later on, if we need, you can restore from Time Machine. So let's just use the second option and install the Mac from scratch. Okay, so we actually don't have a drive yet, so we have to go back out. All right, so first we need to go into disk utility, and we need to create our partition that we're going to use. In my case, the hard drive that I'm putting in came from another computer, so it already has some partition in it, and we want to delete that. So, but as you can see, I cannot click on this. So what you need to do then is go into the view, show all devices, and then now we can see that this is our hard drive that we put in, the SSD, and so what you can do then is click on erase. So all right, so we'll call this Mac, and format, that's fine, and for scheme I'll use the GUID partition map, and erase, done. And then we close this, we go back, install macOS Big Sur, and then third time's the charm. All right, so now we can install. So we have almost 1 terabyte of space. That's good, and then we can go from there. All right, installation is done. Took a little bit of time, so have a snack or something while it's doing it, and it'll reboot automatically like a couple or so times. So we just need to go through the setup, and I'll just do that right now. Now we're here, so we can then choose to migrate from our Time Machine. So let's do that. Pick which one, the latest one, obviously. So, and now in this case, I need to set a password. And then, yeah, it shouldn't take too long because we're not migrating a whole lot, but, and it's going to an SSD, but we're still coming from in my case, a physical hard drive. That's not terribly fast, even though it's USB 3. All right, transfer from Time Machine finished. So now it's booting up. Okay, now migration is complete. Click on done, see what goes next. Okay, we signed in, and now we just need to, sign in with our Apple ID and do the rest of the setup. All right, so setup is done. Basically, the whole Mac setup, you have to enter your what do you call this, Apple ID and all that, location and so on and so forth. So that's all done, and yeah, so what we have almost 1 terabyte of space, and after migrating everything back from the Time Machine, we still have 937 gigabytes. So we got lots of space, and we're done, right? So now we can basically use the laptop as it is. We can also do some updates because we are using Big Sur and not the latest OS. So as you can see here, we have another update that's available, so we can do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we're basically done for the 5 things you can do to a MacBook Pro from 2015, and making it not just reusable but better. But wait, there's more. So we have all the space, 1 terabyte almost of remaining space. What can we do about it? Well, one thing we can do is do a dual boot and install Windows. which is pretty easy enough to do with Bootcamp Assistant. So let's run that. And there's some introduction here. Continue. And to be able to do this, you'll need to have a Windows 10 disk image or ISO, which you can actually download from the Microsoft site, and it's free. You do need to enter a key if you want to activate it, but you can still use it if you don't want to. You just have like, what do you call it, a watermark bottom. And there might be some features that are restricted, but for the most part, you can still use Windows without having a key. So anyways, that said, we can then specify our distribution of space here. We don't need to give Windows a whole lot, so let's just give it a quarter of what we have, so 250, which should be a lot, right? Because we started with 250 for the entire Mac, or 256 to be exact. But so let me just do it as close as, you know what, that's good enough. 251. So we install, and it's gonna install some drivers for Windows for Mac. So all right, so it finished downloading the drivers, I suppose, but it's kind of just frozen like this. Oh, okay, now it's doing something. It blinked a little bit, and yeah, oh yeah, there's something. So it's installing something in the background, obviously. So I'll just let it do its thing and come back. All right, so it finished booting up, and then now we're actually in the Windows installation procedure. So obviously that's fine. Go next. I don't have a product key. We can install that later. You don't have to do it now. Windows 10 is fine with me. If you want to install other things or other version of Windows, you have the ability to do that. For my case, Windows 10 Home is fine. Go next. Okay. Agreement, as per usual. All right, they have your soul now. All right, so now you can choose where to install it. Obviously, Bootcamp is where we need to install it. So I'll go next. And yeah, now it's copying the files to install and do the actual installation. So we'll let it run, and I'll come back. All right, so region, we're fine with that. We're fine with this keyboard layout. No, we're okay for now. You know what? I don't have internet. Let's worry about that later. Continue with limited setup. Let's just give it a name. Same user, I guess, as before. Not quite a password for now. Okay, we're at this point. We want to uncheck all of this stuff. No location, no diagnostic data, no tailored experience, don't find my device, no inking typing, and all the advertising ID. Yeah, we don't want any of that crap. Accept, do that, and then no, not now. Cortana, we can all set that up later on when we want to use it. So setup is done, at least on the Windows side. We can just let Bootcamp install the rest of the stuff it needs. Alright, so Bootcamp is finished installing itself on the Windows side, and yeah. So now we have Windows. Obviously we can connect to the internet if we want to, but as you can see, we have our Bootcamp drive here, or Windows. Yeah, so okay, and we can just restart. What is this? Let's go back to the Mac side, and then yeah, restart. All right, so if you want to choose which OS to boot up, you have to press Option, right? And now, if you have a firmware password, you'll get this again, just like earlier when we tried to install a Mac, right? So what we're gonna do is remove this guy. So let me just enter my password. All right, so we logged in, and yeah, and then here, startup security utility, turn off firmware password, and we need to enter it again. So I'll be back. Turn off, quit startup security, and then we can just restart, and we can just hold option again so we can choose which OS to boot from. Alright, now we can see we can go on Mac, and there's 2 windows. Anyways, that's kind of odd, but yeah, let's go into Mac. There you go. So we can see our Bootcamp partition here. That's our Windows partition, right? And yeah, we don't have access to write to it. I mean, we can see what's in there, and vice versa. Windows doesn't have access to or at least write access to Mac. So what we can do then is use this utility, and once we're here, we can look at the partitions again. Yeah, so what we can do then is add a partition and give it about 500. You know what? I cannot feel bad. I want it to be equal, so some odd numbers, but it just have to do. And exFAT, so either one can read it. I'll just name it data. Alright, so it will shrink the Mac partition, so it's gonna take a little bit of time, but not too long. Yeah, cause computer to, sure, of course. And yeah, so fortunately we don't have a lot of data in in the Mac partition, so shrinking it should be fine. There's a lot of extra space there, and yeah, and it shouldn't take that long. All right, so it finished creating our shared partition called that called short for data. Anyways, and yeah, we can just click on partition to review it. Yeah, it looks good, and we can quit it. And yeah, now with that, yeah, we can move a bunch of stuff there. We can move the downloads folder and all that stuff from from the Mac side. And yeah, I'm gonna do that. And obviously you can move a lot more stuff, like your photos and all this space consuming types of files, like videos or photos or music and all that stuff in the download folder. You just dump all that into that, and yeah, and then we'll pretty much do the same thing on the Windows side. So we're in right away, and if we open up this PC, we see our dat folder here. So now we can do something similar. So let's move downloads. Download in the Windows side is a little bit different. You can just we don't have right click. We can just right click on, right. So right click is not available right off the bat. So what you have to do then is go to the tray here and click on this diamond shape called Bootcamp Control Panel. So we have this error. So what it is some issues with the permission, too much permission or something like that. But there is a workaround to this. So what we can do is run a special command for now. Okay, using the command prompt. So cmd command prompt, and then run as administrator. Say okay, and I have this command here. I'll put it down in the description, and actually let's close this. So maybe, you know what, we're already in the right folder, so let's do this. There you go. Now what we can do is in the trackpad, you know what, I like tap to click, so let's enable that. Secondary click is the bottom right corner. So with that, if we click apply, if we right click, oh, now we get right click. Okay, so if we need to launch Bootcamp again, what we can do is right click on the desktop, create a shortcut, and the shortcut is the command that we ran. So paste that here and call it Bootcamp Control Panel. Finish. So now that we have our shortcut, what we can do is right click on it, run as administrator, and run as a utility, and then we can access our Bootcamp. Now once we have Bootcamp Control Panel setting working, and we have our right click working, now we can actually do what we're set up to do, is right click on desktop, click on properties, and then we have this option of location, and we can move it. Let's move it to our shared folder called, shared partition called that. And let's use the existing downloads folder from the Mac. So the Mac and Windows is going to be pointing to the same downloads folder. So that's good. And okay, it tells it that he's going to copy files if he needs to. And yeah, so that's good. Then we can do the other stuff too. So music, we have a music folder. So let's do that. Properties, location, move. Very time consuming. What? Music, right? Yes. Yes. Pictures, same thing. Properties, location, move. Movies, pictures. Yeah, so we don't have all this duplicate media sitting in different partitions. It's in the same place. I think that, oh wait, is there videos? Oh, you know what, videos will just go into movies, so let's just map that to that. Location, videos goes into movies, and yes, good. So all our media is going to go to the DAT file, so the use of storage in our actual C drive is going to be a lot less because of that. And if we have Steam, we can set our Steam directory inside that as well. So yes, I think, and let's just move this to the side here. Yeah, so for now, I think we're good. Obviously, there's stuff we can set up on Windows side of things as well, but I'll let you guys do that. That's all I wanted to share on the Windows side. And once we're here, if you want to quickly reboot into Mac, instead of holding the key on restart, we can just do it from here. Restart in macOS X, and we'll. Man, seriously. Okay, I guess it has the same issue, so maybe I'll figure that out later on and show you guys how to do that. But anyways, well, just reboot to the Mac the usual way, and yeah, and call it a day. Start. Okay, so yeah, we're back on Mac. We're actually pretty much done here, and so yeah, so we have our next thing we need to do is just upgrade the OS to the latest version. It should be easy enough to do. But our storage, we got 3 partitions now, our Mac, and then our Bootcamp, which is the Windows one, and then our shared folder. So yeah, basically we did a lot of stuff. Into review, we cleaned up the screen. We clean up the inside, to improve airflow. That's number 2. Number 3, we repaste our CPU, heatsink, and all that. So heat dissipation is much better. Number 4, I didn't do it, but what we did, I mean, I didn't show you in this video, but what we did was to replace the battery. So our battery lasts longer. It acts like new battery, like from the factory. Although obviously, you know, it's a third party, it might not be as good if we were to have Apple to do it for us. Number 5 is to obviously install the what do you call this? Install a new hard drive SSD, increasing it basically by 4 times the size of what it was before. And then with all that free space, we have Windows running in dual boot and through Bootcamp. So I hope you guys found this useful, and you know, if you're able to find an older MacBook Pro like this one, in this case a 2015, arguably the best Intel based MacBook Pro ever, and 2019 is the second best, I suppose, but because it still has a removable SSD, and we upgraded obviously, and yeah, and it's still pretty good, right, in terms of capability. The screen is great, the metal chassis is great, and we got lots of ports. We don't have USB, but that's fine. Anyways, it's good to give it new life like this. And if you're thinking of buying a second-hand one, make sure there's no firmware password, or if there is, to have the seller disable it or give the password to you, so you don't have to have that issue of not being able to boot up into another drive. Aside from that, obviously the usual things you need to watch out for, overall condition and things, cracks and anyways, that's it. Well, it's a long one, so hopefully, yeah, you find this interesting. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.